in 10 years, AI is going to be able to design experiments in economics or be able to write research papers in economics 10 times, if not 10 times better, at least 10 times quicker than just the average student can, right? So I think the question is like, what am I really learning in my classes that will allow me to keep up with a world that is changing as fast as it is? I think I would say remember what it means to be human. I think that means like stay true to your authenticity, stay true to your curiosity, and don't let yourself be defined by anything that is not a reflection of who you are.
Let's start with, could you briefly introducing yourself and your current role in Yale Model UN?
Yeah, of course. My name is Nick. I'm a third-year college student at Yale University studying economics. This year, it is my great honor to be the Secretary General for Yale Model United Nations Taiwan. What that means in simple terms is basically I'm just the team lead. I've overseen all parts of the conference, from getting delegates to come, to putting together the curriculum, to booking the conference center for this year's conference. I'm studying economics in college, and I'm from the New York City area in the US.
That sounds like a lot of work you have to do, right? Yeah. So what's the preparation you have to do for it?
It's pretty intense. There's a lot of behind the scenes work that goes unnoticed. We started prepping for this year's conference in May of 2025. So this year's conference has almost been a year in the making. A lot of it starts with onboarding our team, and we have different team members that handle different aspects of the conference. We have people that work on delegate recruitment, so reaching out to different schools, inviting them to the conference. We have people that work on graphic design and media, putting together all of our own promotional materials, all of the materials for the conference, things like that. We have team members that focus on the curriculum development side. We have team members that focus on external partnerships. And then in March, we fly to Taiwan, we set up the conference center, and then we welcome all of our students to the conference. I haven't been a part of any other university's Model UN program, so I can't speak to maybe the clear differences. I think what makes Yale MUN programs special for me is it's really centered on community and collaboration. Because we do choose awards at the end of the debate, so whichever student debated the best, spoke the best, and our awards criteria is really centered around diplomacy and collaboration. So it's not just who is the best speaker, who's the best researcher, but who is able to include the most voices in the conversation, who is able to support their peers the most in the committee, things like that. And I think that sort of collaborative culture really translates onto the organizing team as well. We started off as a group of 15 strangers in September, and now some of my best friends, I would consider some of my team members to be some of my best friends in college. I think there's a few. I think one is really just empowering youth voices, especially in a place like Taiwan. Yale, first, this is the 12th iteration of YMUN. So the conference has been operating for 12 years, and it was started precisely in Taiwan because of the importance of fostering diplomacy and communication in Taiwan. Taiwan is one of the few countries in the world that is actually excluded from the United Nations. So there's definitely a sort of a strong political narrative there that we think Taiwanese voices deserve to be included, that we think youth in Taiwan should grow up with access to these opportunities, that their voices, that they have meaningful contributions to make to international discourse. So I think just choosing the location of the conference already is a value in and of itself. And then I think beyond that, it's really more of what I was getting at before, just the value of diplomacy, the value of bringing more voices into the fold, of growing innovation, things like that. Yeah, I think maybe one way that we can sort of structure the skill building process is what is it like for a student to do Model UN at our conference, right? And I think at the most fundamental level, it starts with research. You have to, before you begin the debate, you need to understand the country that you're representing, their position to a very high degree, right? Because you need to know what their stance is, what policies they believe in, what alliances they will seek to form in committee. So it starts with really deep research. And our directors prepare the delegates with what's called a topic guide, and that's a 20 to 30 page research paper basically about the issues involved for the committee. And then the delegates will prepare what's called a position paper, which is a 1 or a 2 page essay outlining their view and presenting some preliminary research about what they believe in. So it really starts with research. I think the next thing is like diplomacy and communication. They give a lot of impromptu speeches during the conference, and a lot of that requires like really close like critical thinking skills, the ability to speak on your feet, to be flexible, and that sort of like mental agility to like respond immediately to changes in committee. And then I think lastly is just collaboration and community building, because like I said, I think one of the biggest values of YMUN is it's not about like me versus you, but it's about what we can achieve together. How can I find points of commonality with other students across like a supposed divide, or how can I negotiate with people even if we start with opposing viewpoints? How can we all work together to create, or at least to imagine a world that is better for us all?
Right. I think if I were to give like one like constructive point of feedback, it would be improving the ability to like think outside of the box. I think a lot of education systems in Asia educate and raise students to be not necessarily one-dimensional, but very straightforward in what they think success means. And it's, and I think a lot of it translates well to Model UN, like do your research properly, speak well in committee, like raise your hand a lot to participate, things like that. But I think, just the ability to like form creative solutions, think outside of the box, maybe bring like a more like unorthodox perspectives to the debate, is something that maybe we could see more of. Yeah,
I agree. And I think doing Model UN in high school sort of is a really great like training grounds for like improving that type of thought, right? Because Model UN is different because it's not one person debating another person. It's a room of like 30 or 40 delegates all working together to approach one idea. So you lose a lot if you treat it like a black and white binary.
I think, in terms of at least through my experience, I would think that college students in the US are probably most concerned with the social aspect. It's like, what are the social implications of the institutions that we participate in, the decisions that we make, things like that. I think that all communication begins with listening. And I think listening means really listening. I think it takes a level of intellectual humility to really understand the issues that people are caring about. So I think it's being open to dialogues that like everyday people are having, everyday young people are having. Being open-minded enough to accept those dialogues, and then being compassionate enough to do something to make the world a better place.
I think a lot of it is about like skill building and human capital, because the idea is like, if AI is going to be able to replace so many things in the future, will what I'm learning now make me into a more capable or more intelligent person, right? Like, do the things that I'm learning in class, will it actually help me make a difference in the world? For example, I think like the economics department is like a really great example, right? And I think Yale has a very, very strong economics department. And like a lot of the classes are about like both theory and practice, right? So both like the theory of like how you build a model, what makes like a strong economic model, and then practice, like the empirical side, like how I perform experiments, how I capture data, how I process and understand data, things like that, right? And like that's sort of what like classes sort of train economic students to do. But then like the scary part, or the anxiety inducing part, is like in 10 years, AI is going to be able to design experiments in economics, or be able to write research papers in economics 10 times, if not 10 times better, at least 10 times quicker than just the average student can, right? So I think the question is like, what am I really learning in my classes that will allow me to keep up with a world that is changing as fast as it is?
Okay, so for just one ability you think is must learn during the AI generations?
I think I would say remember what it means to be human. I think that means like stay true to your authenticity, stay true to your curiosity, and don't let yourself be defined by anything that is not a reflection of who you are.
So if you had to have to choose 3 words to describe what you hope people remember about Yale Model UN this time in Taiwan, the event, what would they be? 3 words.
I say exciting. I think I want people to feel stimulated by the quality of their Model UN debates. I'd say collaborative. I think it'd be great for people to walk away feeling like they've made new friends, they've gained new perspectives. And then lastly, honestly, fun. Because at the end of the day, like these are high school students from around the world, from all different parts of Asia. And I think just being able to like make new friends, share like happy memories together is as impactful and as important for like the future of diplomacy as is like the content of the model UN.
All right, great. Thank you, Nick.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Alan. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I hope you have a great event.
Thank you. Awesome.